This is exactly what the Miami Heat needed, as things have just taken a major turn regarding one player in particular in regards to a major trade that not only changes everything for the Miami Heat right now with all their game plan, but also has fans fired up, as it does give them an actual direction that they have desperately been looking for, and it also sends them in the right direction that fans and the front office alike have wanted the team to go in. We're going to break down all of this on the channel right now, but guys, if you're not part of that 70, or if you're not part of that 25% that subscribe to Heat Digest, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single Miami Heat update. If you're part of that 75%, you are missing out on some of the best Heat content on the internet right now that you don't want to miss, especially with the season getting underway and there being a ton of noise surrounding this team and what exactly the Heat are going to do in order to try to contend for an NBA title in a weakened Eastern Conference when they're still not there yet, where they're still not fully stacked up just enough, and they do need another star, someone that they are going for. They've looked at a ton of different star options, but this is the move. This is the one that puts them right back into the forefront of everything. And we're going to jump right into it, guys, because look, there's been a lot going over with the Miami Heat recently, specifically regarding how they navigate this season. Tyler Hero is out for the beginning of the year with an injury, and, well, the Heat were terrible without Hero last year. They didn't win a single game. They went around 0-6, and frankly, it was just a terrible look for the team because it's clear that they already don't have a ton of guards on this roster whatsoever, specifically point guards, and that is a cause for serious concern. Hero is more of a two, but is able to play that point guard spot and has done it fairly well because he's an excellent combo guard. He's an excellent player overall, and he can handle it. But look, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, the Heat, they do need more star power. Pat Riley's very aware of that, and he is trying to get the Heat more star power, using Andrew Wiggins as a potential option to dangle in trades, but at the same time, it doesn't mean they're exactly going to trade Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins is an excellent two-way player who fits in on a lot of contending teams, including the Miami Heat, specifically regarding if they do want to go after some form of guard, and the perfect guard for a trade has shown up, and he is right here in Ja Morant. Now, just taking a look at the trade that was proposed by Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report, it's Ja Morant for Terry Rozier, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparas Yakachonis, a 2030 first-round pick, and a top-5 protected 2032 first-round pick. Now, off the rip, it does look like the Heat would be giving up a lot for Ja Morant, but again, he's Ja Morant. He's the franchise player of the Memphis Grizzlies. He's an all-star level player, and he gives the Heat the exact type of point guard that they need this roster going forwards. Now, as Andy Bailey mentions, for Miami, this is a pretty penny, but it should be a desperate for star power after losing Jimmy Butler last season. This sample wasn't huge, but in the wake of the Butler trade, neither Tyler Hero nor Bam Adebayo looked ready to carry the franchise back to title contention. Morant, with an assist from Heat culture, has enough talent to fill that role, and I 100% agree. And as Bailey continues to mention, when healthy and not serving any kind of league-mandated suspension, Ja Morant is one of the most dynamic lead playmakers in the NBA. His highlight plays are often gasp-inducing. However, the injuries and non-basketball issues that necessitate those two qualifiers have become far too common. And if the Memphis Grizzlies could talk to a team giving multiple young prospects and picks in a deal for him, they should. They would have to seriously consider moving him. That's exactly what this deal does for Memphis. Forget Terry Rozier. He's an expiring contract who's just here for salary matching purposes. The rest of this package is a solid return for a player who's struggled as much as Morant has with availability. And that's absolutely true. The Grizzlies can't garner that much for Ja Morant right now, and they're not exactly succeeding with Ja Morant either because the team around him has not been good or healthy. They just trade away Desmond Bane, one of their top players. And now Morant, who's a very talented player, who put up 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists per game last year, shooting 45% from the field, does not really have any other running mates outside of Jaren Jackson Jr. This team that was once looked at as a future title contender now looks like they're a couple moves away from completely blowing everything up on this roster. Probably the move that they should make, and Ja Morant does get a fresh start on a team that he fits in beautifully on. Meanwhile, Jaime Jaquez Jr. did struggle a bit last year compared to his first year in the NBA, putting up 8.6 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game, getting around a steal per game. He's a solid defender and a nice building block to have. Meanwhile, Terry Rozier obviously didn't play well at all, putting up 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, shooting 39% from the field and 30% from 3. But at the same time, Terry Rozier has gone pretty just... He's got that expiring contract, so who knows what happens with him. Maybe he plays well and you could flip him in some sort of instance. But at the same time, even if you can't, you do get a guy who you just have for a little bit, and then you can just free up a ton of salary cap. and start to really get this rebuild underway for the Grizzlies. That's the main enticing point for the Grizzlies, is really getting this rebuild underway. Right now, the Grizzlies team is struggling. Jaren Jackson's currently out with turf toe, and when you look at this roster, it's nowhere near a title contender. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope struggled last year with Orlando, and that's why he was traded away. Jalen Wells is a nice nice second-year prospect to have. Aldama is a solid player, don't get me wrong, but he's not a starter on a championship team, and Jake LaRavia is not a starting center on a championship team. A team that really, outside of Zach Edey, who's been solid but is still very young, doesn't have a whole lot of big man depth either. So, especially when you look at this bench, and I understand some of these guys will move to the bench, like Aldama and LaRavia, but still, when you look at the bench, Ty Jerome is a nice sixth man, and Scottie Pippen Jr. is okay, but it's not really something that you're looking at and saying, oh, this team can actually win a championship. There's no real pathway to contention for this team last year, and in this era of championship or bust kind of mentalities that a lot of teams have, it does make sense for the Grizzlies to ultimately decide, you know what, let's move him off, especially when you look at a team like the Heat, who right now will be starting Davion Mitchell, and then they could replace Davion Mitchell at the 1 with Ja Morant. Have Davion move back to the bench, add some really important scoring there, and a nice, more veteran guy next to Kasparas Yakachonis, who could help with the ball handling duties. You then have Tyler Hero at the 2. Norman Powell can go to the 3 or can be your 6th man. Andrew Wiggins will be right there as well. And then you have Bam Adebayo and either Kel'el Ware, Nikola Jovic, or you could go small ball at times, use Bam and Wiggins in the front court. I know Bam doesn't really want to do that and would prefer there to be another big man out there, so maybe they do keep Kel'el Ware out there. Have Ja Morant kind of get some more spacing because Ware and Bam are both out there, and you have Wiggins for defense as well, and Tyler Hero. The defense looks good. The offense looks good. That, to me, is a roster that could actually make noise in the playoffs, can actually do something, and also isn't just limited to this one-year window. They have a long window to go out there and have some success. Ja Morant's not old. Andrew Wiggins is around 29, 30 years old, so he's fine. Bam Adebayo's still in his prime and young, and Kel'el Ware is only getting better. Meanwhile, Tyler Hero is the same thing, only getting better. Bam, same thing again. Obviously a little bit older than the rest of them, but still 27. He's really not someone that we should be concerned about age at all. So everything looks very good for the Heat right now. And yeah, their bench would still be strong. You have Pal Larson, you have Yakachonis, you move Davion Mitchell to the bench, you move Norman Powell to the bench, you have Nikola Jovic back there, you have Precious Achiuwa for a big man, you have Vlad Golden who could step in and be a big man, you have Kashad Johnson, you have Simone Fontecchio. All of a sudden, it's a very nice looking team. So this is a move that to me makes perfect sense for the Miami Heat right now. And we see that the Grizzlies, they're not going to succeed without Ja, but that's not the point. And also, when Ja Morant's out there, he does lead to team success. Since 2022-23, the Grizzlies have a 76-44 record with Ja Morant, but however, without him, they're 50-76. So we see a complete difference. They have 76 wins with Ja Morant, as we could see, but without him, they have 76 losses. So he's obviously played around little less than half the time, which is not good, but at the same rate, the Heat, they need to take a risk in order to get a star like this, and this is the cheapest way they could actually get back into title contention, keep a lot of the bench, and contend this year in a weakened Eastern Conference that really just features the Knicks and the Cavs, and it feels like any other team even trying to win is such a long shot, but we're going to see how all this goes. Obviously, I am totally into this trade happening. How do you feel about it? Let me know that in the comments down below. Be sure to get back to you, like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I'll catch you later.